young girl, Yohane, wrenched into the big city with ambitious dreams of becoming a star. 2 years later, she has yet to pass a single audition. Since Yohane cannot support herself alone, her mother invites her back home to discover something new that only she can do. With limited options and empty wallet, Johann reluctantly returns back to Numazu, her hometown. In the seaside town, Yunahan reunites with her canine companion Lapras and slowly settles in. Opening a fortune teller shop, she reconnects with old friends she has forgotten and meets new ones, all whom help her in search for a unique purpose and meaningful path in life. Unfortunately, not all is well for Yuhan and the people of Newsmed, and mysterious powers affecting the town and disrupting nature and wildlife. While forging stronger bonds with her newfound allies, Yoha devotes her summers to find the magic that may help to save Newsman. This anime about 13 episodes from July 2nd to September 24th, 2023, based off another series. It is fantasy. Themes are idols and music. Each episode is 20 minutes and rated PG-13. Let's get started into the review. Here we are back with another anime review, and here we have our protagonist, Yuhan, and her familiar Lapras, as she returns back home into the seaside town of Newsmet, where she is reluctant to go back to because she said, and I vowed, and this is her words, I quote, she didn't want to go back to that town because apparently she had no good memories from this town, which I digress. I feel like even if you had friends, even if she, like, they grown apart and, like, she's forgotten about them, I feel like she should still have, like, some good memories, like, from this place. I don't know why she has such a reluctant attitude with, like, saying, like, she didn't have any good memories. Like, I feel like that's like saying, like, oh, I had a bad childhood, but, like, you had a good childhood, you just block some stuff out. And I feel like for her specifically, I don't know. I just feel like she just, she's forgotten her friend and me and new friends. But as her familiar who greets her back, she's like, they fight more like siblings, which is kind of funny because she is a wolf and she's a human. But, like, the dynamic's kind of funny. They kind of, like, easy, like, bicker and play off with one another, which I think is quite funny within itself. I think it's hilarious how they work out. So when Yunhai comes back to, like, her town where she, like, supposedly grew up at before she left to feel like the big city to become an idol, she's seeing, like, the familiar places that she's been through as a child, but then she's like, I don't have any good memories from here. My man, like, give it a little look yourself. You cannot be that mean about returning back to your hometown when you have been left with no other option. So you can't be picky here. Your options are limited. You really cannot be picky. And what I feel like for this in particular, since it is like a spin-off series, I feel like for me in particular, I feel like Johan and her coming back to town, it's a different twist of another series. And I feel like before I get that, I think for me specifically, having the original characters come from a different anime, but still have the same themes of music and idol, I think mixed in with that modern fantasy element is a different twist. But I feel like the fantasy aspect is like underrated, and I feel like the story does very contain itself in that small town which everything takes place, which is perfect, really true. And I feel like for Johan and her companion Lapras, it's a nice touch because of that sibling dynamic. But over the course of the anime, you see how they bond and come to understand each other. And I feel like overall how Lapras comforts Johan as she struggles through, the course of the show, and comforts her in time of need. I think it's really just resonates with a lot of people because we always have that best friend that we can come to in time of need. And I feel like in particular, while she can reconnect with her old friends and the other girl, I feel like the main focus is on Lapras and Johan because you see Johan grow into her own person and very good, like, character development. And as far as the other cast in the show, we just see how they basically grow their bonds from being childhood best friends who were once strong with their kids, but then grow apart as they become, like, young adults, and then reconnecting once their old friend comes back to town, and just familiar. Yoha's familiar herself with, like, the old faces and new faces, and you just kind of see that bond, how it trickles out, which is a really good approach to this story dynamic. But I think it's really ingenious and really good for a storytelling. I think the fantasy element is there, but it's not as strong as it could be. I feel like the overarching theme and plot of this is how a natural catastrophe, in this case, a force that's disturbing the wildlife and nature in the town, how she is meant to be there at a certain time, a certain place to make sure that this, doesn't affect the citizens who live there, along with her being reconnected over the summer. But I think Johan in the Parallel Sunshine in the Mirror, I think it's a good spin-off of a series that, a different genre that we've seen before of these characters, but to give them more of a supernatural element, but not heavily relying on that supernatural element. But definitely this anime you haven't already, I definitely give this anime a 7.0 out of 10. I really can see how, adapted from the other series, but definitely check out this anime, 800. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you soon for another anime review. Until then, bye!